This is the Orioles Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We've got another win to celebrate, right? And just after the mountain, Felix Bautista comes in, strikes out 3 for a save, and a 9-5 win for your Baltimore Orioles over the Toronto Blue Jays. Hello, welcome to the Locked On Orioles Postcast. My name is Luke Slaybaugh. I am in charge of the post-game shows. I've been a sports host for about 10 years, giving you instant reaction after Orioles games all season long. Connor Newcomb is still here. Connor Newcomb still runs the show. He will do the Locked On Orioles podcast every day, 5 days a week. You still get that every day. He has been crushing it. I am just renting space in the basement here. So you get 2 shows a day on weekdays for the next 6 months. And hopefully you and I can share in some of these wins like today many more times this season. Thank you for listening on the Locked On Podcast Network, anywhere you get your podcasts for free. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, I see a bunch of you filing in, a bunch of you making comments about this game that was topsy-turvy and had many different momentum shifts, but what a very sweet and satisfying ending to see Felix Bautista make his first appearance in 582 days in a 9-5 win for the Baltimore Orioles over the Toronto Blue Jays. Of course, the big headline for today is that the power surge for Baltimore continues. Jordan Westberg leading the charge with 2 home runs, 10 home runs for the Birds through 3 games. Colton Cowser leading off the game, the second pitch he sees with a home run. And he went up against a future Hall of Famer in his own right. Right-hander Max Scherzer making his Toronto Blue Jays debut. He grooved a couple of fastballs to Cowser and Westberg and paid the price. And yet, just as he was starting to figure things out, he left the game unexpectedly. And that is what led to our turning point for today's Baltimore Orioles win.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
You never want to see a player leave the game due to injury, especially a star and someone with the caliber of Max Scherzer, a Chesterfield, Missouri native who has won 2 World Series and 3 Cy Youngs in his career, but he has, in the past 4 seasons, gone on the injured list. That's the part of being 40 years old and commanding so much power with your pitches. So after 45 pitches and 3 innings, Max Scherzer left the game with what the Blue Jays are reporting as a right lat soreness. Of course, that after giving up 2 home runs, and the game was tied 2-2 when he left. After giving up that home run to Westberg, Scherzer sets down the next 7, and he was getting into a groove before that injury. Enter Richard Lovelady, former Cubs left-hander, with the game tied at 2 apiece. And then Ryan O'Hearn getting the rally started in the top of the 4th. Second pitch he sees, grooves it kind of inside out, hits it down the left field line for a double, kind of making up for a base running blunder that he had made in the first inning. Tried to advance on a infield single, which was originally labeled a 2-1 putout, I believe. Vladimir Guerrero kind of airmailed it over Scherzer. Alejandro Kirk throws to Scherzer. O'Hearn tagged out. He kind of moved his way, shifted his momentum towards first. I don't really like that rule, but yet I have been the umpire in Little League games making that call before. When someone takes a step, kind of turn inside the baseline, O'Hearn visibly upset with himself, and it did rob the Orioles of a run because Westberg homered later in the inning. So anyway, O'Hearn's on second base, and then Cedric Mullins gets hit by a pitch. Heston Kjerstad, making the start in right field, gets hit by a pitch. Gary Sanchez with the sac fly to take the lead, and Jackson Holliday walks. And then cue up the bases clearing double for Ramon Urias in the 9-hole. 92 mile an hour, goes opposite field, and Ramon with a 3-for-4 ball game. That production out of the 9-hole, so impressive. And you might be thinking, man, for someone who's not known for being a bat-first guy, but who has won a Gold Glove, has gone through this Orioles rebuild, and for him to have such a great day, I had in Sharpie him down as my player of the game. I manually am taking score, by the way. Thinking about getting the Bob Carpenter scorebook, but it's like $40 for something I could do in a composition notebook. You let me know. but all my thoughts down here in this composition notebook, and then I type them out and then try to connect with all y'all. Ramon should have been the player of the game, and yet someone else had an incredible performance at the plate, showed some power, showed some speed, showed that he could hit anywhere in the lineup, showed that he could be, just an all-star for years to come. He already is. You already know what his name is.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Jordan Westberg. Look at all that power. First inning off of Scherzer, he takes a fastball to the deepest part of the ballpark, 434 feet and 110 off the bat. And then in the seventh inning, with the Orioles in the lead, hits it again over 400 feet and 105 miles an hour off the bat. That is 3 home runs in 3 games for the Orioles infielder. Doesn't matter if he's playing third, playing second. Westy has been in charge and one of the most impressive hitters in this lineup, as the Orioles now have hit 10 home runs in 3 games. And it wasn't just the long ball. There was a lot of timely hitting in this one. 5th inning, Cedric Mullins with an RBI single, avoiding a double play. If you were listening to the broadcast, and Kevin Brown and Rob Long jabbing each other back and forth about the jinxing of a potential double play scenario, Cedric put that to sleep right away. Heston Kjerstad with the sac fly in that inning as well. So the offense is clicking on all cylinders. And for the next segment, I was totally going to go in on Dean Kramer and explain why I'm not so concerned about his performance, and in fact that I think there were some causes for optimism and some good nuggets to take away from Dino's performance, and I'll get into that. But first, the mountain, waiting 600 days almost to do what he loves, to make that comeback. After all the ups and downs of his careers, you're seeing the press clippings about him now, a fully healthy Felix Bautista, a non-save situation, and yet able to make a difference and make a triumphant comeback. Maybe didn't have his best stuff. Maybe the velocity isn't back. We're going to dive deep into that after this break. But first, it's time for ad copy. This show brought to you by Supply House. Thank you for listening to the Locked On Orioles postcast. I am Luke Slaybaugh. Again, Connor Newcomb here 5 days a week. I'm just here to get you through wins like this. And you can get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House, most reliable way to order your products online. Website's so easy to use. It's packed with helpful resources and the product info to make sure you get that job done right and you don't have to keep going back. Plus, a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 plus top brands. You're going to find exactly what you want and need delivered post haste from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House is always going to have a human representative available to help you out. Industry leading service and expert support. And for the trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, which is huge in these trying times, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now I post to you, it is your turn to join Supply House. Join that Trade Master program I just mentioned today at supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you can use the promo code SH5 for a whopping 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. One other sponsor for today's show. I thank you again for joining, and this is brought to you by Gametime. Nothing better than catching an MLB game live, and if you didn't make it north of the border, I don't blame you, but the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, all those hot dogs, are you ready for the home opener to get yourself a hot dog at Camden Yards? If you need to go last minute, it's never been easier than using Gametime. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, the tickets will drop as the game gets closer. That is not abnormal, but it is a good perk. So you can score an incredible deal. And with some highly anticipated teams coming in and some games at Camden Yards, I can't wait to see you there. I can't wait to travel with this team. I can't wait to see the Orioles take this power show on the road. You can also find the view from your seat before you check out. Again, a lot of ticket services are doing this, and Gametime is upping the ante. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. You can download the Gametime app, create an account, and use this code LOCKEDONMLB, all one word, LOCKEDONMLB, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Gametime. What are we talking about tonight? I think when you're at the water cooler Monday, or if you're at church tomorrow, or if you're going out, if you're meeting me out for dinner in Hanover, got a date, kind of nervous, man, we're going to be talking about Felix Bautista.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The underdog story, the overcoming adversity, we gloss over all those things. And I got to hand it to the Baltimore media, the Banner in particular, the long profiles that they have done about Felix Bautista and his journey, 8 years in the minors to get to the elite level and to become the mainstay at the back end of the Orioles bullpen that he is. In fact, the preview series that Orioles Video Creative was doing, the kind of mini documentary they were doing from spring training, they had asked Brandon Hyde what his most memorable call-up conversation was. And he had mentioned telling Felix Bautista that he had made the big league roster was maybe the most cathartic and most rewarding of his career. Very happy for seventh-year manager Brandon Hyde. Another win as we're celebrating a 9-5 Orioles win over the Toronto Blue Jays and the return of the mountain. Right-hander Felix Bautista, first time in 582 days, coming off Tommy John surgery. And here's how it happened. Getting Nathan Lucas with that 87-mile-an-hour splitter in the dirt. And then hat tip to Bo Bichette. 4 for 4, top of the Blue Jays lineup today. He had everyone kind of racking their brains about how to put him out. Sometimes it's just that lucky. So he gets a slider out over the plate. Again, finishing 4 for 4. He hits a double. Then Vladimir Guerrero Jr., splitter on the black, gets him swinging. Walks Anthony Santander, who had a ho-hum day at the plate. 1 for 4 with a walk in his first RBI, but also struck out 3 times. So that's disconcerting if you're a Blue Jays fan. That and the Scherzer injury. And then Andres Jimenez, who had homered in the game as well, homered off with Dean Kramer. He strikes out on that splitter. So an incredible day for Felix Bautista, a triumphant return, and we're celebrating with him. That is what we are talking about. I had a whole block planned about Dean Kramer and the causes for optimism I have. Dino, the last salvageable piece from that Manny Machado trade from July 2018. And if you were just looking at the box score, if you were looking at the cherry blossoms down in DC today, if you were traveling, if you were with family, if you just unplugged on the weekend, which I totally endorse, this aside, of course, the final line on Dean looks less than ideal. 5 1/3, 5 earned runs, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, gives up that home run to Jimenez, 2 walks, and leaves at about 81 pitches. It's about the same. I think Eflin had an even 80. I think Eflin might have been under 80 on opening day, but I think that's what Brandon Hyde has got his horses doing. If they can get through a full game or a complete game, so to speak, official game, 5 innings with 80 pitches or fewer, that would be ideal. So it started out uninspiring. And after watching Charlie Morton's O's debut last night go south in a hurry, I was worried how Dean labored through that first inning, 21 pitches and 3 straight singles to open the game, including an RBI from Santander. And the stuff got better almost immediately after that. There was a sac fly in that inning and then struck out to end the inning. But he got economical with his pitches. He started putting people away, and all those strikeouts came after giving up the 2 runs. And I think Dean did what he had to do to carry the team on his back and not have them have 2 unofficial bullpen games back to back. sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to grin and bear it. And we saw Jose Barrios try to do that, going 5 innings on opening day for the Blue Jays. But after Morton was pulled in the fourth last night, Dean needed to eat it a little bit, and he got better over time. This was also the debut for Gary Sanchez behind the plate, and seeing how he, elder statesman, about 5 years older than Adley Rutschman, worked with Dean. He came to the mound a couple of times, and I think it did help calm Dino down. Third inning, he gets 2 of those Ks. Dean does, and then almost got out of it before Jimenez got the better of him. Left a fastball up high, wasn't a strike, but 95 miles an hour. That was that. Then fourth inning, I think, was probably his best. 9 pitches and 2 strikeouts, economical, and then got pulled after getting into trouble again. A walk, gives up a single, and then a wild pitch. That was pretty much all Brandon High needed to see. Luckily, left-hander Keegan Aiken comes in and gets out of the inning unscathed, which is important. Yennier Cano threw a great 7th inning with 2 strikeouts, including Santander to finish the inning. Threw a changeup, got him off balance. And then, of course, Sir Anthony Dominguez cleaning up Gregory Soto, who had a kind of a rocky outing with 2 walks, paving the way for a non-save spot for Felix Bautista, a 9th inning to give the Orioles the 9-5 win. Okay, Orioles take the lead in the series 2-1. They can go for the win tomorrow on Masson, the series finale. And it's the Orioles' debut for right-hander Tomoyuki Sagano. He'll go up against right-hander Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays. Sagano, unknown commodity. We don't know what we're getting. And that has been the case for foreign imports, particularly out of Japan. We have seen some pitchers come in and crush it. Hideo Nomo, Daisuke Matsuzaka's rookie season. We have seen pitchers come in and do great from Japan. We have also seen them go south quite a bit. However, there's a lot of inspiration behind Sagano. He's coming off a 15-3 season for the Yomiuri Giants, a 1.67 ERA in 24 games, 3 complete games, and a shutout. As the competition level of baseball in Japan continues to get better, and they continue to develop great players that are immediately snatched up by the Los Angeles Dodgers and others. Hopefully, Sagano proves himself at this stage in his career that he can be a mid to upper rotation starter. A lot of these moves that Mike Elias made over the offseason, most recently with Kyle Gibson, and another one that I'm about to mention that is breaking today, felt like back-end options. Cade Povich is a back-end option, maybe a 4, maybe a 5. Kyle Gibson is a 5. And between Kramer and Sagano, if you can look at them and with the lines they put up and the stuff that they bring to the table, say, it's a solid 3 and maybe a 2 when you need him. I would love to see that out of Sagano. Let me know what you think. Front office making moves in this opening series, and it was kind of a gimme move. Happened a little more than an hour ago, and they did mention it on the Masson broadcast. They acquired right-hander Cody Poteet off of waivers from the Chicago Cubs, just a little more than an hour ago, for cash considerations. He is now on the 40-man roster and immediately reports to AAA Norfolk. This is a great move, low stakes. What could possibly go wrong? It is mind-scratching if you are a Chicago Cubs fan that they would DFA Cody Poteet. Reason being, they acquired him and cash from the New York Yankees this offseason for Cody Bellinger. And that front office has been making mind-scratching moves in my eyes since 2020, 2021. Jed Hoyer taking over that baseball operations department. They have let go of Cody Bellinger, who was a part of a 20-run game today with the New York Yankees. They hit 9 home runs in a win over Milwaukee. So they basically gave up Cody Bellinger for free. And now they gave up Cody Poteet for cash, which is huge. Last year, 24 innings, 4 starts for Cody Poteet. 3-0 record, 2.22 ERA. Again, that is a very small sample size. He broke in with the Marlins a few years back. But an interesting depth piece. And again, with many people gunning for that final rotation spot. And again, with help on the way, Grayson Rodriguez, hopefully coming back in April. Now you have a solid 8 players, hopefully, or 8 arms to carve out this rotation. So there was space on the 40-man roster. Why not go for an intriguing depth piece? Cody is 30 years old, always making moves, and got to make money moves, right? We're celebrating a 9-5 win. Want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Luke Slaybaugh. I am giving you immediate post-game reaction on the Locked On Podcast Network. Connor Newcomb is here, giving you the daily show again every day, 5 days a week. He will be here. He is the man, and he hopefully, welcomes me in, and we have a great team to bring you many more wins like this. Thank you again for listening and watching on the Locked On Podcast Network. Final score, Baltimore 9, Toronto 5. It's the Orioles. Take care of the Blue Jays.